Boah, that's hard to tell. To be honest, I do what I want to do. It's just like the map where you had one of your interviews, the pirate map, with a little island. And to be honest, I just sat there, watched a video on YouTube, and I was like, pirate island would be nice, wouldn't it?
Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion, and unfortunately Raptor's not here today. He is currently working. But I am joined by our wonderfully esteemed guest. Who are you?
Hey there! My name is Shirako Takamoto, or that's how people call me in here. And I'm making words, commissions. I work in the gaming industry for a few years.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. Wow. I have fun working in here, making people happy.
So, what got you started in VRChat and making worlds in the gaming industry? That sounds wild.
That's probably a funny story. I mean, in the real world, I'm a world composer. So I get all the Lego building parts like music systems, assets, and I'm the one that assembles them in the end. And I didn't know how to do it in here. And the story in VRChat began, like I've said, it's a little bit a special one, probably. I've met my lovely wife in here, and I wasn't in VRChat for that long at that time, so I didn't have that understanding for how much a world does mean to someone in here, like an own world. I had no idea of that. And so she told me about that she would love to have one at some time. And I thought to myself, well, let's see. And yeah, I've started building my first world in here. And that was my first present for her. And she was undescribable. She was so happy. She cried. It was insane. And that was the moment for me where I saw how much that means to people in here, like an own world just for them. And yeah, then I thought to myself, okay, let's try it. And then I made a few more worlds. Then people started to come to me and ask me about it. And then I started taking commissions.
Oh, wow.
That's like 4 years ago. Yeah, that's 4 years ago. So that's the story.
Wow. So I'm going to ask you a few questions here. And what initially started you on being a world composer for the gaming industry? Where did that all start for you?
Oh God, that was a little bit crazy. I never learned it, to be honest. I slid into it, so to speak. I've had a really good friend of mine that worked in a really small studio, and they had a problem because some of the people got ill, and couldn't work on it. And some of them had an issue with one of their scenes. In the gaming industry, they are just called scenes. Most of them call them worlds in here. And I thought to myself, I looked at it. I told him, let's see. And yeah, I spotted the issue and told him change that one over there. And he was like, okay, wait a moment. And like a few days after that, he asked me if I wanted to work on it voluntarily. So without money. And since he was a good friend of mine, and like I said, it was so small. Like the CEO, it's not even CEO, it's the boss of the company. It's not even a CEO. Worked with us together, so it was so small. And he really liked what he saw, what I did. I helped creating that scene for them, and so he thought, why don't you do that? I mean, more often or for money. And yeah, there it more or less all started. I started a small business. In Germany, you can start what it's called. I don't know the word in English, but it's like building a business on yourself, just one person, so to speak. And I've indexed me in the index from that's like a big list in Germany, and from there I was able to get searched by exactly these companies, and so it started. And okay, because why did I know something about Unity in the first place? To be honest, it was a hobby. It was just a hobby. Like before he called me and asked me, it was just a hobby. And let's say I like to get deep into my hobbies.
Fair.
So,
wow. Well, that's what I see, like, for example, the world we're in and many more. You should check them out, by the way, in the description. They're all really well done. Like, I'm going to be honest, I'm immensely impressed. They look fantastic.
I'm glad you are happy. I mean, like I said, that for example, that was one I've made in the beginning for free before I even made commissions, because I just wanted to make something like that. I love the feeling of it, the how you can relax in here. I just love that, and I think it's something. It's hard to describe. It's something special to be able to create such environments. It's like, it sounds strange, but it's like playing God. Creating your own world. You can walk in, see, touch, so to speak, and that's it's just an awesome feeling, to be honest.
Wow. So also, what got you into VRChat? What made you want to come here in the first place, and what led you to like making worlds and meeting your wife? Like, what pulled you here?
Good point. To be honest, it wasn't even VRChat per se. It was just like what's possible with VR in the first place. I just got informed by the hardware, the state of the hardware. Where are we? What's the state? And I was so impressed because it seemed to make such great progress at that time. And then I looked it up. What are the possibilities? What can you do? And in the early days, it was VRChat. Let's be honest. That was the thing. So there was not much else. And I first I tried it in desktop mode, and I think we can all sing songs about how VRChat is in desktop mode. It's awesome, but there's something missing. Let's be honest. And I know the moment as if it was like 2 minutes ago. I've sat in the world sleep and rest, or rest and sleep, if you know it. I'm pretty sure you know it. Yeah, I've sat in a chair in there, and I looked around, looked the other people, and took the scene into me. I let it work in me, and I said to myself, okay, fuck it, I need a VR. Shit, I need it. And that was the day. And then I've started with the Rift S. I bought me the Rift S, and then I went in.
Wow. I've noticed VRChat tends to do that to people. Like, a very common story you'll hear is like, I started on a Quest or a Rift or a desktop. I was like, wow, VRChat's amazing. Now I need to spend $1,000. It's a couple shortly after.
Yep. What can you say? With time, you grow accustomed to it. Absolutely. But the first hours in VRChat, it's in VR, it's magical. It's nothing. There's nothing that compares to it, to be honest. And that sucked me in, to be honest. It sucked me in so hard. And the first days, the first steps in VR. I had no people here, no friends, of course. And I just looked around. What do people in here? I went to clubs, to whatever, just meet people and have fun. That was like the first thing. I world hopped all the time and was really impressed what people do, because for me, as someone that did it as a job, I never thought that a community that doesn't do that for a living can make such amazing places. It was amazing to see the involvement of people, how many work they put in it, and that, to be honest, that was one part that inspired me. Yeah, absolutely.
So, from you as a someone who does it as a career, when you come in, and even now, what are your thoughts on the whole development of the VRChat community, where, like, with the building and how a lot of people are like, hey, I have this really fun hobby, you should join me. The next thing you know, there's more world builders out there because someone dragged someone into a Unity project. What's your thoughts on this whole?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think it would be amazing. Since I love Unity, I worked in Unreal Engine 2, but that's not my strong suit, but I can do it. But Unity is so flexible, so open for so much stuff. And it's, to be honest, it's easy to use. It's just awesome how versatile it is. And for people that have this hobby, to get others in, suck other people in and say, hey, come on, you can do it too. That's like just the amount of knowledge you have to have, and the creativity and the will to learn to master Unity or even work in Unity. It's a step up for everyone, in my opinion. Everyone can learn from that. Just if it's just the knowledge how to learn, just the small ones. And I love that. It's amazing to be part of it, and the community, how it evolved. I mean, I'm not here since the beginning. Like I've said, 4 years for me now, so I'm not here since the beginning. But I went through some steps of the community. I completely missed the Knuckles stage of the community, sadly. But there are some remnants of that still, so I can get it. And it's amazing. What can I say? Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a bit of an interesting question, because I don't know what the gaming industry is like. What is the working for a game industry like, and how? Yeah, I'll start with that before I start layering questions like I'm good at.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm not the best example for it, because I'm freelancer. That was the word I was searching before. Yeah. So I work for myself most of the time, and I have 2 steps or 2 things I can do. Most of the time, I'm getting in as the world composer. So people get me the building blocks, I build it, or parts of it. Sometimes a map is so big, it's just not feasible to make it alone. You would take years to do it. And the other part is project management, but that's the bigger part. So if people need someone that overlooks the whole process of building the map, if that's the thing, then I get a team. Most of the time, that's someone that makes the music or chooses the music, someone that makes the assets, someone that textures the assets, then so on. Sometimes that's a team of around 10 to 20 people, something around that. And like I tell them what we need to do. I mean, my boss tells me how it has to look in the end. And I tell the other ones what they have to do to get it to that state. And then I build it. That's like the most stuff I do. But like I said, I'm not the best person to ask, because I'm not fixed in one what's it called one company. I'm not fixed in one company. So sometimes I get the crunch. So probably you heard of crunch time and so on. Sometimes I get that as well, and it sucks. It's fucked up. But to be honest, I have, since I live in Germany, I work under German ruling, and in Germany there isn't something like overtime, working overtime or something. You can do it, but you get paid even more than normal hours. If they ask you to stay longer, you get more money for it than you get normally. The same for working on the weekend, you get double money. Working on special days like holiday, you get triple money. So, okay, if they want to crunch me, do it. It's okay, it's fine by me. But to be entirely honest, I'm entirely honest. I'm a pretty how is it? How's the word? What's the word? I'm a pretty. I just work that much as what I need. I just work that much what I need to do. I don't work more. I'm a pretty. The word. Oh my God! It's so a simple word. I don't overwork myself. Let's just let it at that. Just that much so I can live. I don't have the high standards. I don't need a big car and a big house. I don't need it all. I don't want it. I have my apartment, my wife, my PC, and I'm happy. And I work only that much to get that paid for. That's
Okay. So
I hope that helped a little bit.
No, it helped quite a lot because I don't know personally. You don't know if you don't ask. Always ask questions, which is lead to the next. So what is doing commissions for a gaming company like versus doing commissions for the VRChat community? Are they similar or different in ways?
Oh yeah. Oh God, they are a big difference. I mean, the first one is the price. You can't compare the amount they pay me to private people paying me. That's worlds of a difference. I mean, it's more difficult to work inside of a company as well. So it's fair to get paid more, but I mean, it's a much longer process in a company just to get stuff cleared. You know, you can't decide yourself. You can't decide everything yourself. You have most of the time you have two people I have to speak and I have to have to agree with. That's the first one is the person that sketches the world, like the person that just draws it in 2D, and so I get a vision of it. And the next one is my boss that employs me, so to speak. And each little change, everything has to get through 10 people to get back to my boss for him to say me, okay, you can do it. And that takes time and time and time and time. And every change takes so long. Take that pillar over there. If that wouldn't be there, and I would want something like that, I would have to go to the 3D asset guy, tell him, can you do something like that? Then I have to go to the artist. I have to to the 2D designer. Can you texture it? Then I know it is possible. Then I have to go to the guy that sketches the world. Do you think that would fit in here? Would you like that? So, and then I would have to go to my boss and say, are you okay with me putting that in? I can't just do it, and that's it takes so much time, and it's a hassle sometimes, but it's okay. And for private person, it's much simpler to work with. I mean, I work under the I love to have a steady contact with with the people that commission me. Like each day I've sent pictures, get ideas back, there's a steady exchange. And I think that's how it has to be honest, because if you don't do that, your client won't get what he wants. You won't get like a good reputation. It's just important. And yeah, then the next step is to, oh God, I hope it's not too long. I hope I don't get it too far.
I will say this. If
Are
you
you
end
fine,
up
or
ranting,
okay?
please do. If you want to speak in length, go right for it. Don't feel bad. Oh no, more time.
Oh God, no. I mean, it's not even ranting. I mean, it's just nice to have this conversation with the people, because like they come to me and say, the first thing most of the time is, can you make a world? And I'm like, buddy, I'm here for that. That's why you ask me. And then, like, sometimes I have to pull the infos out of the person. What do you want? How big do you want it? How complex do you want it? Do you want to have systems in here, like pickups, games, mirrors? You know, that most of the time you don't get that info without asking. And then if I collected all of that, and I can say, okay, I have the assets for that, can do it. I build a little a Unity sketch, a 3D sketch that takes like 2 to 3 hours. So, but that's for free. That's completely for free. And then the person can look into it and say, okay, that fits. The walls are fine over there, and the how big it is, that's perfect. And then I calculate the price. That's I get paid on an hourly basis. That's for me in Germany. I mean, that's 20 euro an hour. That's like $23 an hour, like something around that. Yeah, and it depends. Small maps are 100, 150. Bigger maps can go into the 5,000s. That's one of my biggest projects in here. Was a $4,500 map. So it can get pretty big. Yeah, it can be. Yeah, and then I start the process, and yeah. When I'm finished, I'm finished. But even for that, I mean, they get an estimated time, of course, and I never get over that.
Okay. Interesting. So between the two, both working for companies as well as private people wanting a world, which do you prefer working with, and why?
That's a really good question. Oh, that's a good question. It's hard to tell, because since I'm a freelancer, you don't have, I mean, that's one of the drawbacks, of course. You don't have a steady income. If you are working for someone, you know, I work from then to then, I get that amount of money every month. That's a big plus. For me, I have I mean, how it's called in English, I mean, there's the summer drop-off of gaming. Probably you heard of that, the summer hole, it's called in German. Yeah? In summer, there's just not that much stuff to work. And sometimes there is a month where I have no commissions at all, and I have no commissions from companies at all, and then I make no money, of course. So it's a back and forth. What I wanted to say with that is that if you work for a company, the salary is just so much higher. You can live months from that, to be honest. But it's nicer to work with people, because I like to communicate. Probably you've already noticed. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. You're being yourself. And I appreciate that more than ever.
Thank you. Same here. Yeah, to be honest, if you just ask me how what I like more, it's working with private people. To be honest, it's such a more nice atmosphere, and it's awesome. That's a big plus. Absolutely. Yeah.
So when you first started doing commissions and stuff, and work for people in VRChat for private people, what was the experience for you like? Was it what you expected it to be? Were you glad you did it?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's a good point. It was really, really, really hard to get foothold in here, because I just learned that, like in the beginning, that in VRChat or commissions with private people, it's not normal to get paid up front. That's just not what people normally do in VRChat, and I had to learn that on the hard way. I mean, I didn't, because I do it the same way now. But I had to grow accustomed to it, that people probably ask for that. I didn't even know that was a possibility. So for me, okay, I work for nothing and then I have to be lucky to get paid. Huh? What? It was to me unbelievable, you know. But then I learned how much scammers are out there. I didn't know, because it didn't came from that, you know. For me, there were no scammers in the industry. That's just not possible there. So I had no idea, and I learned that. And then I understood it a little bit better, that people want that. And so the start was a little bit bumpy, because no one had any idea what can I do, what can't I do. And that's one of the reasons why I started to make public worlds. So I can show off stuff, you know, what can I do, what can't I do. And in the start it was really hard. But then after I've uploaded, like, don't let me lie, it should be around 90 maps now in VRChat, something around that. I mean, the people grew more. They had a stronger belief. They believed me if I told them I can do that and it will look amazing. But yeah, and to be honest, I'm more or less a specialist, because I'm specialized in photorealistic stuff. I'm specialized in visual stuff in general, in audio design. That's my kind of stuff. To be honest, I have to be honest and tell my weak points too. I'm not a big coder guy, so scripting, coding. I can't make someone like the Murder 4 map. I can't do that. That's just not in my capabilities. So I'm specialized in awesome worlds that look amazing. You can relax and have fun. That's my strong point.
Okay. How did you find yourself getting into that as a specialization? What led you down the path of picking that specifically?
That's probably pretty easy to answer, because I'm just a big sucker for graphics. For graphical fidelity. I loved it. I played the impossible game Crysis 1. At the time.
Your poor PC.
Can it run Crysis? Can it run Crysis? Exactly. Yeah, and I was so impressed. That was the day, to me. I think that was the day where I said to myself, oh my God, that's insane. And I wanted to be able to do that. And yeah, so I'm just a sucker for graphical fidelity.
So what about the graphical fidelity of Crysis and games like it made you want to make worlds like that for a choice of style?
I mean, there are so many points. I mean, the God rays. If you look up and you can see the sun, the rays of the sun. I mean, it's on the second version of that map. It's also in. I remade the map later on, and yeah, like the God rays that go through the foliage, you know. And I just stood there and watched how it interacts with the weaving. How it's called with the trees. Let's say the trees. I just love that. Then the how you can destroy stuff, how it can crumble in itself, like the palm trees in Crysis. Probably you saw that. You can destroy them on multiple parts. You can destroy each and every building, and that's one of the parts I can do. I have assets for that to do that. Just not in VRChat, sadly, because VRChat is a little bit. VRChat doesn't like C# scripts. I mean, mean, probably you know, but you have to write Udon code. That's pretty similar to C#, the Unity language itself. But it's pretty restrictive, really, really restrictive. And there are at least 50%, 75% of the stuff you can do with C#, you can't do with Udon. That's just sadly a thing. But what can you do? And yeah, if I saw the water reflections in Crisis, it was just insane for its time. The texture fidelity, people hate me because my worlds, especially my public worlds, are pretty big in download size. But I don't know, if I look around and I go near an object and I can see each pixel individually, I can't stand it. I just can't. If I make a commission, that's probably I left that out before. Sorry for that. But I ask him, how big do you accept the world to be? How big do you want it at maximum? How much are you okay with compromising the quality for the size of the world? So, and that's a big part too, because optimization is so important in VRChat. And yeah, I asked them also, what's your hardware? What's your target hardware? Because I can go all out. I can put all real-time light in. I can make it like it looks like a AAA game. I can do that, but it fries most of PCs. Like the $4,500 map, the guy said to me, I asked him, what do you want? Yes, was the answer. And I said, okay, I go all out. The map is over 1 gigabyte in size.
Oh, wow.
It is. Yeah, but he said he's totally fine with that. He has to download it only once because it's now his homeworld. So the size doesn't matter. He has it in his cache and that's it. So yeah, but yeah. I just love it. I saw Crisis and it was insane.
So what has, from when you started to now, what has been like the general VRChat's public response to the commissions you do for them or the worlds you make?
Oh God, that's probably I don't want to clap on my own shoulder. That's bad at every time. But to be honest, I only had one bad response. Any other one was just like, it was awesome. That's I don't want to lie. Of course, I need monetization. I need money to live. It would be a lie if I say otherwise. But just seeing the people, seeing the world for the first time, sometimes no money in the world can pay for that. Some people, sorry to be that honest, most of the time the girls cry for excitement or are just so happy. Guys are like, oh my God, bro, you did it. So it's an awesome feeling to see how excited they are, how happy they are. It's crazy. Yeah. I love it.
I can only imagine. Was that kind of response something you expected when getting into it? Because I'm sure from what you've talked about, like when you've done commissions for companies, I'm sure they're very dry, very, yes, no.
Yes, they are. But to be honest, I'm much more dry there too. I mean, I'm a pretty open person. Probably you can tell. Probably. So often I bring a little bit of color into all of that. But yeah, of course, you can't deny it. It's a much more sterile environment. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, what's the first question? Sorry, I lost the plot.
Did you expect that kind of wholesome overexcited response from people coming from the background you're in?
More or less, to be honest, because I said the first one that what started it for me was the excitement and happiness of my at that time girlfriend, where I've made the first world for. I didn't know that most people would react like that. That was a surprise, to be honest. So to be entirely honest, no, I didn't think that it would be that incredible for most people to get their own space in this small world. But it was an awesome one.
So I'm going to ask, because you've mentioned it twice, and I'm personally curious. How did you meet your wife, and what are your thoughts on finding a significant other in VRChat in a virtual world?
Oh God! Do we really want to open that barrel?
Yes.
Okay. Probably the first thing how I've met her. It sounds so dumb, but the pub. No, the black cat. Sorry, the black cat. It was the black cat. Oh my God. Yeah, the black cat. And I went in there, how I did it every day, or most days. And then I've heard a voice, a female voice, a pretty high-pitched voice. And I was like, oh, well, okay, let's see. And I went over there, and there she was with many of her friends standing in a group. And then they did what most people do, like chilling in front of the mirror, talking to each other, having fun, trolling each other, the regular stuff. And I've snuck into the group because they were funny, and I thought, come on, you can let's see, probably you can make friends, because like I've said, it was pretty new. I didn't have that many friends, and it was awesome. They all were really kind, and so I've made a few pictures with them, with her. And but I didn't ask her for anything. I didn't even ask for a friend request or something like that. And then a few days after that, I've met the same group, because if you ask a girl if you can give her a friend request, she already knows what's going on,
Yes.
So I already friend requested her friends. So, I joined her friends, and so I knew, okay, she will be there too. And I've met her again, and we had an awesome day. We were broken beyond belief because of laughing, and it was insane. And then I said, I will go off. And probably we will meet again. Let's see. And then she asked me if she can send me a friend request. And that was like the hooking point I've waited for. And so that was the starting point of it. And then we, of course, started to hang out more often. And then one to another. Later on, we had role play. Probably you've known about that. There are many role play groups in VRChat. There we grown more together. Then a little bit more later on, we married in VRChat, came together in VRChat. So all of that. And then I think it was half a year later or that, I asked her if she wants to visit me, and she said yes. And then she came to my place. We had an awesome time, and then more or less we said, why don't we widen it out into the real life? And that's where we are then. And it for me it was amazing. I wouldn't have thought it would be possible, but I was glad I was wrong. I was glad to be wrong. And in general, people, that's really hard to tell because, that's such a big topic. It's so often, probably everyone that ever was in VRChat knows about VRChat dramas. Probably everyone. And because the hurdles in VRChat are so little, and you aren't yourself. You have an avatar that it's like a mask you wear all the time. Most of the people. So because of that, it's hard to tell. It's it's easier for people to fall in love with each other because especially girls are more free to be themselves. You know, in real life, most of the girls have like, you have to be modest, you can't do that, you can't do that, you have to be a little more distant, and in VRChat, most of that falls off. So you have girls, guys that are grown accustomed to having girls in a distance, now see girls that come to you, talk to you, are nice to you. Oh my God! And many guys are not common with that. They don't know that from the real world in that wide margin, and because of that, they fall in love much faster. You have it so. It's so common. You have a good friend, and like every 3 to 4 days, I found the girl of my life. And I'm like, sure, nice, okay, good. I will tell more about that, or I will say more about that after the first week, 2 weeks. After a month, then we can talk about it again, but it's good and it's bad in the same way. The good thing is people are more open, they have more opportunities to be themselves, and that's amazing. The drawback, of course, more hearts getting broken. That's what can you do? But in general, I really love it. How free the people are, how can they live themselves in here, live with others. So it's more a plus than a minus in my opportunity, in my thinking.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I would say congratulations on finding the woman of your dreams and wife in VRChat.
Thank you.
I'm happy for you.
No, it's fine. I just want to say thank you. I mean, I'm incredibly glad to. It's not the standard thing to happen. I've noticed. So I know how lucky I am with her. Absolutely.
Now I'm going to whiplash you into another question because I'm really, really good at that. When making worlds in VRChat, like some of the public ones, for example, what was some of the inspirations for those worlds? Where did you derive your choice of location or style for that world? Each, or some of them anyway.
Boah, that's hard to tell. To be honest, I do what I want to do. It's just like the map where you had one of your interviews, the pirate map, with a little island. And to be honest, I just sat there, watched a video on YouTube, and I was like, pirate island would be nice, wouldn't it? Okay. And then I went in and, and did it. So most of the stuff, I mean, I get the root of the question because many world creators do worlds in another sense. Many world creators are like, what would the community love? What would get me the most visits on the world? Like many world creators have that mindset, and I get that. I absolutely get that. I mean, many world creators are younger than I am, and for them, it's more important to get this publicity than for myself. For me, it's like I do my stuff. I have my other job. It is what it is. I do what I want. So. But yeah, for many other word creators, that's a big part. What would the community love to see? And yeah, for me, it's just like, what do I want to do? What do I want to see in here? And of course, it's a small portion as well. What would they love to see? I rarely do something just for myself, aside from my home world. So. Yeah, it's a part too, but a pretty small part. Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of things where you're doing a thing, you just wake up one day thinking Pirate Island, and it just kind of happens. It's not necessarily like,
exactly.
What do I want to build today? And you just kind of think about it, and it's like, oh, I remember seeing a thing. It's just sudden slap in the face, Pirate Island.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the thing is, yeah, I mean, to be honest, if I see something in VRChat, like if I would have seen a pirate island, then I would say I want to make a pirate island, then there would already be a pirate island. You know what I mean? That would be like I would copy something, or I would feel myself like I would copy something else, and I don't like that. I don't like the idea of that. Like. You just do it because you saw someone else do it, and now you do it. I don't like the idea. I'm a little bit special in that regard, probably. But is it a hard-headed person? Is that a phrase? Yeah.
Yeah, stubborn.
So, yeah. Yeah, stubborn. Thank you. Exactly. Yeah, I'm a pretty stubborn person, and if I have an idea, I do it. Okay. That's the point.
Fair. So I have another thing for you as well on the kind of the topic of world creation as well. From your time in VRChat and kind of doing your commissions here in public worlds, what kinds of things did you learn or pick up that's different from what you would pick up outside of the VR headset?
You mean the desktop to VR or the company to VRChat?
Yes, company to VRChat, like outside
company
the platform versus what you picked up here. What kinds of things? Stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah. That it's many things. I mean, of course, the first thing is you have to build the world in another way, because the difference between desktop and VR is it's massive. In desktop stuff or in companies, you cheat so much. Like if you even think that the player wouldn't see it, you don't build it. You spare so much resources on not necessary stuff, because there's so much tricking and getting around stuff, workarounds. In VR, most of the time you don't have that luxury, because since you are in VR, you can look up in a special angle, and you can you have other opportunities to interact with your environment, so you can't trick that easily. So best example, the waterfall over there. Yeah, that waterfall comes from nothing. If you go up there, there's just the water just appears out of thin air, and some you can try to hide it. You can like place other stones around it and so on. You can trick much more, or you have to trick much more in VRChat. Aside from that, of course, since I do the stuff by myself, I don't have a person that injects codes in it. I have to do it myself. Sadly, but I do it. Of course, the simple ones like the mirrors, the toggles, that was a completely new thing for me, like building toggles, building scripts, because even if you don't see it, nearly all of my worlds have a hidden load screen. You can't see it, but all the systems I have in the world are loaded in seconds after another, one after another. Because if I load every system at once, you get a big lag after joining a world. Like your PC runs 5 seconds on 0 frames, and then you can see again. That would be the normal one. So, because for example, I have a script that bakes all of the reflection probes. Probably you've heard about reflection probes, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
I never bake them. I never do. I've made a script that one by one activates them after joining the world. So the reflection you get are as accurate as possible to what it has to look like, and they are all on 2K. They are all the maximum. That's the trick. I don't have to go like 100 by 100 pixels. I can do 2K on all the reflection probes because I load them in sequence. Like stuff of that kind I had to learn how to do. Then of course things you can't do. There are many things in VR. Oh God, no! Don't let me start on that. I've grown accustomed
go down
to
that
work.
road. I would love to hear all of it.
Oh, God. The thing is, I've grown accustomed to work with the HD, or the HD render pipeline in Unity. There are 3 render pipelines: the standard, the universal, and the HDRP. And there are so incredible many things you can't do in the standard render pipeline you can do in HDRP. I could bring stuff in here, perfect ray tracing. I could volumetric lighting. I could get into here. There's so many things. It's insane what you could do with that. But it's just not possible. It's I can't just feed it standard render pipeline into VRChat. More isn't possible. So I'm pretty limited in that regard, even if it comes to performance. In HD render pipeline, the materials or the textures, you don't need as many textures as you need in the standard, because you can use one texture, and in each color of the texture you have one separate texture in there. That's incredible. That's you can pack 4 textures in one.
Oh wow.
Imagine that. It lowers the download size by such a big amount, but you can't do it. Or the render path, that's another big topic, because there is the old one, the linear render path, and the deferred render path. That's a little bit of a newer one, or it works in another way. And both render paths work in the standard render pipeline as well, but VRChat doesn't like deferred render path. The nice thing about the problem in linear render path is if you have real-time light in your world, each real-time light, like the sun, like a candle, like something else, it has to be rendered all the time, or everything at once, which is insanely costly. That's the reason why we can't use many real-time lights. In deferred render path, only the real-time lights you actually see in your vision gets rendered and compiled. Nothing else. If you want to use more real-time lights, the deferred render path is insane. It's like night and day for performance. If you have with the linear, you have like 40 frames, you have like 200 in deferred render path. But but you can't use it. So I had to learn all of that, what I can do and what I can't. That was the first one. Then the horrific. I mean, oh God, that it sounds so bad, but I have so many Quest friends. I love them. They are amazing. But the Quest restrictions for maps are insane. They are. It's crazy. I mean, to get them. I mean, if you can remember, like I think like a year ago, the max size was 50 megabytes for a world on the Quest. Now it's 100. Okay, I can start live with that. But performance-wise, that's the hardest part. If someone comes to me and tells me I want to have it on Quest as well, that's like 20, 30, 40% more work to do to get it to that state it runs on the Quest as well. And for me, especially since I like high graphical fidelity, it's like cutting my both arms and work with that. But it is what it is. I do it, and I love the people, and I have fun with it. But that was the biggest part for me to learn that, because I never worked on Android before I got into VRChat. Yeah.
Okay. So actually, you got a whole bunch of questions spurred from your little rant, but I'll start with, what is your opinion on the Quest platform in terms of VR and working with it? Do you think it's something worth doing, or what's your whole opinions on the whole thing? Hello, I'm going to quickly interrupt your video. Please come follow us on any of our socials. We have a card down that way in the description, metaversedegen.co. You can find us on Discord. You can find us on Twitter, which X, whatever. Right here in this space, you'll see the @ you can find me, Lion. And as well, we have a Patreon, which we've started a whole other show as a thank you for those who've signed up, such as Training Fangs, Forbidden Zero, and Niche. So thank you all for watching the video on how these games are going. I'll leave you to the rest of it. Enjoy.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah. To be honest, I think it's the right path. I mean, it's not the end step, because in my opinion, if I see the people, and even in companies, the big point people talk about is cloud computing. That's the big point. All the companies are working to that goal of you don't having to have a PC or a console. You don't have to have anything. You plug your internet into your PC or into a big monitor or whatever you want, and you can do whatever you want from wherever you want. That's the goal of the gaming industry right now. So they aren't there, not at all, but they try to achieve it. And that's what I wanted to say. The Quest platform is a step between the PC and the cloud gaming. It's a standalone right between the two. It will run more to the cloud gaming with time, but it's a good step. At the time, it doesn't have the performance it needs, but okay, the technology isn't there. I mean, okay, it is there if you have like $50,000 for one VR headset. Okay, sure, they can do it, but I don't think it will be a good business plan to do so.
Okay.
But I think it's a good first step. Even if I say for me it's a hurdle, but sorry, I'm not the middle point of the universe. I have to live with it. And in general, I think it's a really good step into the right direction to the end goal. Yeah.
Okay. So since you've worked with companies, I'm going to ask a question you may not know the answer to, but I feel like I want to ask anyway because I'm curious. What do you think is the gaming industry's opinion on VR? Because I'm going to come from a consumer perspective and opinion. You don't see a whole lot of like really big titles come out for things. You see a lot of ports versus specific games. So I'm curious, if you know that.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, I didn't work with every company in the world, so my view is limited. But I can absolutely tell that people in companies in the gaming industry, they are people as we are. At least the developer of it, they love VR. They say, "Oh my god, I love that. I would love to make that game for VR." Many of the guys say, "I would love to port it over to VR and then stand in there," and they dream of it. But the problem is, at the end of the day, it's a business. And they have to make money to get paid, and the risk of putting it or porting it to VR is so high at the moment. Or I mean, the better point is games that are just made for VR. That's right now. It's more or less unthinkable. That risk is so high for companies, even the big ones. I mean, the best we ever got was Half-Life Alyx. That was like the VR standalone. I mean, standalone VR, not standalone, but the VR game that you had to have VR for. That was like the game. But I'm pretty sure something like that won't come in the next few years. That was like an outsider, an outliner of that. I hope it will get better, but we aren't there yet. There are not enough headsets out. That's one point. We need to get more out of them. They have to be more comfortable to use, not in the sense of how they fit on your head, but sometimes there are some hurdles. You have cables, or you have a bad internet connection, or a bad Wi-Fi, and then you can't use Link, and there are hurdles. And it sounds evil, but I don't mean it like that. There are many people out there that have no fucking idea of what they are doing with technology or how it works. They want it to work, and that's it. They want to think about it. And we are not at that point that someone like that can just put it on and it works. Perfect. There's no issue. There won't be an issue. It's just perfect. We aren't there yet. And it will take more time. I personally think we are heading in the right direction, but it will take more time. Yeah, sadly. Sadly.
It makes a whole lot of sense. I was just kind of curious because I've never had the chance to ask someone such as yourself that kind of question. It's like, why no VR? But I do get really excited a lot of the time because you see like the modding industry, for example. There's like a mod for most desktop PC games where it can make any game VR. Like there's a couple of people doing
Unreal.
Yeah, like doing things with like Cyberpunk. There's it works for I saw a lot of videos out for recently, and Red Dead Redemption, and they look fan-fucking-tastic.
It's incredible. I love to see that. I mean, and I can tell you, like I've said, I'm not an insider and that I didn't work for them, but I know some people that work for them, and they saw that the Cyberpunk 2077 port for VR, and they were like, "Oh my god, I love it." They installed it on their own PC and played their own game in VR. I mean, it gets forgotten so often that at least the developer, not the suits, but the developer, they are people like we are. They love games. Most of them, like 95%, are people like we. Let's say they are nerds. They love their tech stuff. They love games. They like to play, and for them it's amazing. They love when people do that because they want to do it themselves, but they can't because the guys say no, and so they can't do it, and they love to see that. So if anyone ever sees that video that does stuff like that, continue. The developers love it. They love you for doing that stuff.
I will say, as a VR enthusiast myself, seeing stuff like that, I fangirled for a little bit when I one of the few times I'm like, oh, I'm going from masculine. Oh my God, this is the coolest fucking shit I've ever seen. You can look around Night City. Look, there's a giant neon sign. It's like few times that forces a person to break character, and that's just one of those things. Like, it was fantastic to see those things.
Crazy. Yeah, it is. It's just incredible. I mean, like the first ports, or one of the first port, the the Bethesda games, Skyrim, Fallout. The moment they came to VR, okay, let's be honest, they were buggy, but it's Bethesda. you can't hope for anything. So of course it was buggy, but to see the world of Skyrim in VR, that was a special moment for me as well, to be honest. Yeah. So I believe you that 100%.
I very much agree. I played the Skyrim VR thing, and I thought it was amazing. I thought it was great. And it's one of the first times you'll, well, at least for me, you see a larger company actually see interest. Like, oh, we have the files here. Why not just kind of do some VR controls, some basic things? Okay, here you go, have fun. And I'm glad I saw that. It's fun. It's good to see the whole unique difference, how things look flat versus.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's a different, like, it's night and day. To be honest, you can't describe it in another way. It's insane, and it will be the future. It will take some time. Absolutely, that won't be in the next 5 years, or not. I assume not even 10 years, but. The more the people grow accustomed to even work with it, if the fidelities get better, the pixels. Yeah, I mean, right now, to be honest, I have good eyesight, so I can see every pixel on it, and I render right now. I render on, I think it's 4K right now. So, and even now I can see every pixel if I want to. That has to go away. It has to. So, yeah. I think the biggest problem the industry has to fix is the motion sickness issue. That's the biggest issue we have, because I don't quote me on that, because it's not the exact number, but I assume at least 50% of people just can't use VR. They can't. They just throw up, and it's sad. It's sad, but I don't have a solution for that. But we have to find one, because if not everyone can use it, it won't happen. It just won't.
Well,
so
one thing
that's a hard one.
At least for the cyber sickness, VR sickness thing, is when I first got in VR, I got it. It was pretty bad. Like, every time I jump off a ledge, my stomach is up in my neck. The more I used it, the more accustomed to it I got. You build a resistance to it. So the best way I could say is, if you get VR sick, do it at your own pace. Don't just kind of do roller coasters one after the other, until you're used to it. It's like, if do one, you get sick, stop, put it away for a bit. When you're comfortable, get back to it. Just keep on doing it, and eventually you'll get used to it. At least that's what I found worked for me.
Yeah. Absolutely, I'm absolutely on your side on that point. It's. I mean, all of it has its limits. My wife, like, put me went to a how it's called in English, like a adventure park. Like with carousels and. Theme park, thank you. Theme park, yeah, exactly. She took me to a theme park and have put me into a carousel that spins around and spins around, and I did that for like half a minute, and I was like, I'm good. Let's go home. So it has its limits, but yeah, absolutely, you grow accustomed to it. But that's the point from before. The normal person doesn't want to do that. They want to put it on and want it to work. They don't want to put in that thoughts, that time, that effort. That's too much. So yeah, and that's part of the issue, of course. Yeah,
you do have a point. VR enthusiasts are especially kind of masochist.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Which sense is stronger more? The fact I want to see something cool in a VR headset, or my stomach trying to upheave its contents? Which will outweigh the other?
I love it. It's just so true. It is what it is.
I remember one of my earlier VRChat experiences was when I found out you can fly in VR. You know, some worlds you put out your arms and you could fly and stuff. I loved it. I thought it was like a moment most kids dream of. My stomach, though, wanted to remind me of what I had for dinner.
Oh my God, so true. Yeah, I know what I mean. And as a side note, I have the greatest respect for people that can code that stuff. That's the exactly stuff I mean, where I'm not a good guy with that. It's so amazing what people can do with coding. It's insane. And yeah, you're right. That worlds, they are a little bit harsh on you sometimes. But to be honest, like maps you can fly and you can do like that stuff. Like there are plane simulator worlds and so on. I just sit down. If you're standing, you've already lost. Just sit down and then fly your stuff, and that's much better. Yeah, the closer you can get to the position of your avatar in the world to real life, the better. Just for your brain. So yeah, if you row a boat, or if you sit down in VR, then sit down in real life while you are moving and so on. That helps. That helps so much. Yeah.
I can very much agree with that. One of the reasons why I say people who get into VR, well, one thing I feel people who get into VR should kind of start with full body, just because it helps your brain connect things a whole lot easier and sooner. Because I'll use like going from half body to full body as an example. Once you go full body for a while and you look back, half body doesn't feel right. Your brain doesn't like it. But with full body and you like move your legs, and your brain can kind of piece things together a little bit, where it may reduce some of the sickness. Like, oh, I'll move my legs move, my arms move. At least the next pieces.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's so true. I mean, right now we have the issue of the price point. That's a big one.
Yes.
Because that's again, that's the next point that fuels into it of it's just too much effort. You have the VR headset to pay. You have sometimes you have the controllers with some VRs. Not all of them come with controllers. Then you have the lighthouses. Then you have to, if you want full body, you have to have the trackers. You can easily go into the 1K, 1.5K dollars. So. And yeah, that's the next point. I don't say I have a good solution for that.
No.
I mean, it's just it's just expensive tech. Yeah. So, but I yeah.
I would say though, you have companies like Meta working on solutions like base stationless tracking and other stuff like that. You got Vive.
Yes.
So at least you get some big companies out there interested in like reducing the price.
Yeah, I see we are like-minded on that. Yeah, that was the exact point I wanted to say right now. Exactly, yeah. I love the idea that Meta has right now with the without trackers, like the inside-out tracking for full body. It's insane. I really look forward to it, how much they can get out of it. Because, of course, there is a limitation. It can't see everything of your body. So they probably at some point have to go with AI to fiddle it out. Probably. Or at least a really good algorithm for the stuff the camera doesn't see. So if the hand goes behind the back, there has to be an algorithm that calculates what should your hand do right now, or an AI that figures out what the hand probably does there. But I'm so curious. Absolutely, yeah. I'm so curious.
Although I've seen one VRChat solution to that. There was it was last year someone released Unity assets that I think it was full body estimation, I think is what it is, where it gives avatars better movement through animation. So when you move your body, it would turn better instead of just kind of like, look, beep boop bop, I'm a robot. It makes like a little more fluid, lay down looks better.
Yes.
So that's one solution.
Absolutely. I mean, the same here. Yeah, I love to see that. I mean, it's the thing is, it only pads the issue, but it doesn't solve it. Of course, how can it? Of course, it can't solve the issue, but it's awesome for people to try it out and to look more natural. Yeah, absolutely, it's insane, and it gets better every day. So hey,
I very much agree. So I'm gonna ask you a whole other question that I think you answer some things too, but I'd like to ask like as its own thing. What are some good ways for people to optimize worlds for VR? Because world optimization. What are some tricks that you know or you can think of or that you've seen? Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. How many hours do we have time?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. I mean, okay. Let's start with the obvious one. Never use real-time light if you don't have to do it. Like the example here in this world, there's one real-time light, the sun. There was no way around it. If you want to have foliage that moves and has shadows, you have to have a real-time light. There's no way around it, sadly. But in general, if you have a bigger world and excruciatingly have to use real-time light, don't. Bake your lights. That's like 60% performance, 70% performance more. Point. Like, that's it. Then the next one would be like, hey, that's a common one, but I still see people don't do it. So it's not that common, it seems. Each object in the scene that doesn't move, mark it as static. So it can be batched together and you save on the render call, the draw calls. That's so important. And another thing is, don't hang yourself on the polygon count. The polygon count isn't that important, not at all. I have worlds. You don't want to know how many polys are in here. You don't want to know. It goes into the 20, 30 millions. Wow. That's not. I don't know. Yeah. Today's graphics cards are so effective in rendering polygons. That's not even an issue. If you go into the three numbers of millions, like in the 100 millions, 200 million, then we get into an issue, but it's hard to get to that amount. So the biggest issue is the draw calls. That's the biggest problem at all. How often the graphic card, the GPU has to render the scene every frame. So yeah, if you can get that down, that's the most important part. And that's for example, you can put that down or reduce that with the static mark if you make a world. Then use as many same looking asset. No, not same looking. Use the same asset as often as possible without it looking repetitive. That's the next one. Because if you can batch only the same assets, if they are the same exact asset, you can make them taller, bigger, taller, bigger, okay? Just smaller, taller. You can rotate them, no issue. But if they are the same mesh, you can batch them together. So the same in here. Like, if I remember correctly, I only used 6 different trees in here.
Mm.
Does it look like that? I don't think so.
No, it looks really good. So at least,
yeah, that's
at least in that point with the trees, nature does that too. It's not like you'll see like 50 trees in the forest. Usually you're in a pine forest. Guess what you're seeing? Pine trees.
Pines. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's true. You're right. Yeah, that's the next point exactly. Use as less as possible without it looking repetitive. Rotating and scaling does so much service to you. Believe me. Yeah, the next one, but that's a little bit of a smaller one, is texture size. Even if I loved my textures big, if you have every texture in your world on 4K, you will run into issues. Most of the time, the VRAM from people just isn't made for that. I mean, since I have to have it because of my job, I have a 3090 Ti, so I have 24 gigs. I can go into like every map if it depends on VRAM. But there are many people out there that have like 4, 6, or at maximum 8 gigabytes of VRAM. And yeah, if your whole map is with 4K textures, they will have a really bad experience, a really bad one. So it's not the best advice because, like I've said, I like my textures big, but don't go over 2K. Many people say even 1K, but I say 2K. But yeah, that's a big part. Then okay, I mean, occlusion culling. Oh yeah, that's a big point. Oh god. The first part of optimization even starts when you are in the conception phase of the map, because probably it's I don't know if you guys or you know it, but occlusion culling, probably known by most. But occlusion culling is, I mean, in Unity there's something that's called frustum culling. That's on all the time. Stuff behind me doesn't get rendered, even if there's no occlusion culling. It's already there. But occlusion culling is that stuff that is behind other stuff doesn't get drawn. So it's not there if I can't see it. So plan your map in a way where you have many natural colliders, like a cliff, a mountainside. I mean, mountainside sounds big, but a wall, a hill. Yeah, a hill was the word. Yeah, a little hill, some rocks that occlude the stuff behind it. You know, as long as it looks natural in real world nature, it's not a plane. The real world isn't a plane where, I mean, there are places where you can look like 100 miles in one direction. It is there, yes. But there are not many worlds that are a flat plane because they want to be interesting. So like in a forest, there are so many hills and stone formations that where you can't see through, of course, and try to incorporate these natural occluders. That's why they're called natural occluders in your world design in the first place. That brings so much benefit to you afterwards. Yeah, that's a few of them. And then you can go even deeper. You can say, but that's a little bit complicated. That's not that easy to do. That's why I don't talk too long about it. But you can even bake meshes together. There are tools for where you can do it even in Unity itself. Like Mesh Baker is one of these tools. I really love to use it. Where you can, like, if you have 2 cars, you can say to that thing, make one asset of these 2 cars. So it's only 1 draw call instead of 2 draw calls. And yeah, that's obviously a really big thing. Then there are so-called imposters. Imposters, where you probably most people know LOD systems. So the farther you are from an object, the less detailed it gets, and the other way around. And you can put in so-called imposters as one of the last stages, or even a few of the more close stages. That's like, it's a special shader, or it's an asset that creates a special shader of an object. And if you look at the object, it just displays a 2D plane of the object, but exactly in that manner how it has to look from your viewpoint. So it looks 3D, but only is 2D. That's much work to do, to be honest, but that's insanely valuable if you have performance problems. So sorry, but yeah, that are a few.
Don't be sorry. Don't ever be sorry. I enjoyed learning those things, and I appreciate it.
Awesome.
For me, as a person and an interviewer with Metaverse Degen, don't ever apologize for going in depth about things. If you're something you enjoy doing and you want to go, like, for example, a 1 hour tangent on AI or optimization of a specific type, go for it. Go ham. I'd love to listen and learn about
Roger.
all of it. You don't have to apologize to me.
Roger.
I enjoy all of it. Because
okay.
as I said before, you don't know things if you don't ask, and if you people. So with that said, the more knowledge, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, in German, I only know the German one, but like knowledge is power, like as direct translation. Knowledge is power.
That is very much something I've heard before. Although, funny enough, I'm not a book learned person. I'm a person who likes asking questions.
That's good. That's good. I mean, yeah, like you said, you have to ask questions. Awesome.
Mom, what's this thing? Oh, what does that do? How does it work? Why is it blue?
That's the start of it all.
Yep.
I love it. Oh, yeah. So we all start like that.
The more annoying, the better.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. So another, I have two more questions to close this up. One being, what keeps you building worlds and doing stuff with the VRChat and in VR? What keeps drawing you here to keep on doing content here?
Yeah. Multiple things, but I mean, of course, one point, yeah, like I've said, I would lie if I don't say it. It's money I can get, of course. It helps me live and pay my rent and so on. The next one is I love to help people. If people have problems with worlds, I mean, probably you already know the story, but like a few weeks ago, the Evi Fair was in full swing, and that was like the same. Yeah, a good friend of mine asked me if I can come in and help them out a little bit and so on. And I was like, hey, of course, sure, come on, put me in. I will look it up. And yeah, it was awesome to work in a team. Sometimes at the end it was a little bit stressful, but I love that. To be honest, I love a little bit of stress. I need that. And it was awesome. I was able to fix many of the issues. Later on, I was able to fix many of the performance issues with the world. Sadly, after it was made public, I just didn't have the time. We had a little bit of a time framing problem. But yeah, so I was just glad to be able to help them. That was not paid or something like that. It was just like they were nice people, and I was glad to help them. So that was all I wanted. Like, thanks. that's yeah. So it's not like I do it only for money. I really love what I do and love to do it. I love the reactions of the people, and that's a big motivation for me, to be honest, to do that. And as long as people are happy or are happy about their own place in this world, I will continue doing it if I'm able to.
Understandable. Final question. Where did you get your name and your avatar, and why do you still use them?
Oh my god. To be honest, Shirako Takamoto is an incredible old nickname of mine. I've got it when I was 16 from good friends of mine. The story is pretty special, so I won't go into too much detail. But they just told me I act like that's my name. Let's call it that. So and they gave that name to me, and it's for some reason it's stuck to me, and I really started loving it and grow accustomed to it. And to be honest, today, no one except my parents call me by my real name anymore. It's what can you do? And it's fine. I love it. I love the name. It's for me, it's like my real name, to be honest. And later on, my wife adopted the same last name. For her, it's Nini Takamoto. So I love it. I love it. I found it to be just too cute. So it has a long history. And I love the name, and I've got known by it, and I'm really glad.
And what about the avatar? What makes you use this as your avatar? What makes it feel like home? Because a couple of times I've seen you even down to your booth. This is the avatar you see. So I'm curious.
Yeah. Sorry, I completely forgot.
Oh, no, that's okay.
The thing is, I'm a world creator, and creating avatars is something entirely different. I mean, I have not that much knowledge about Blender, so it was really hard. But at some point, I guess you come at the point where you want to have your own appearance in VRChat. And since there is nothing like, of course, nothing like an avatar creator in VRChat, like a customizer where you can make it, the options are limited. You can ask someone to make one, or you can do it yourself. And since I had some knowledge in Unity, I thought, okay, come on, try it in Blender. I did. And I don't know if it was the best idea in my life. I hate Blender into the depths of my heart, but I tried. I found the body without a rig. I had to rig it. I had to weight paint it. I had to cut the head off, put a new head in, and it was painful. Why it looks like that, I don't know if I can say that. That looks like a patting again on my own shoulder. In real life, I've grown up. How it's called? My family has noble roots, so blue-blooded, so to speak. And I was, for a long part of my life, I was raised like that. So I had extensive knowledge of how to speak on a, let's say, think about what you speak. What you speak, how you speak, and so on. How you have to present yourself to others. So I was raised in that kind, and I want to it's hard to live that out in the real world because it's antiquated. Of course, it is extremely antiquated. So, and I had the idea to live that out, what I've learned in VRChat a little bit. And I wanted my avatar to reflect it. And that's because why my avatar has somewhat of a noble look, like, yeah. And to be honest, the the edgy side of the avatar is just I just love to a specific degree. I love edginess. I'm really into that. I love the white hair. I just love that. I come from a place of D&D. I played D&D for like my whole life. Yes, and I'm necromancer all the time. So, yeah, that's the place where I come from. So, and I thought, come on, you can do it. Put it in here, fuse both of them together, and that came out of it. One of the first campaigns of mine was the Curse of Thread. Probably you know it, probably not. Who knows?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and so
I'm a D&D nerd myself.
Awesome. Oh my God, that's amazing. Perfect. Yeah, so that, and I was into all of that. I loved that. And yeah, so that avatar came to be. It had many iterations. Right now, it's, oh my God, give me a sec. That is version 21 of the avatar. So there were some trial and errors, of course. Yeah, and to be honest, it was a learning experience as well, because even if I'm not that familiar with Blender, I'm really familiar with Unity, and I have an extensive knowledge of how to make animations. So, and I thought to myself, okay, you have your avatar, now you can start. And yeah, put animations on it, and yeah, avatar is more like a hobby than for money. It's more of a hobby. Yeah.
Understandable.
So he has a long history.
I can only imagine being a person who grew up doing tabletop RPGs. I can only imagine the backstory that character has.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like I said, I could talk hours about D&D, but we don't. that would explode the frame. But yeah, it's awesome to grow up with it. Yeah, the friendships you form while playing it. It's amazing. Yeah, you can. I don't have to tell you that. You know it.
Most definitely.
Yes.
With that said, again, thank you so very much for your time. It's been a pleasure getting to speak, know, and learn from you. So thank you.
Same here. It was an awesome experience. I was really glad. Same here to talk to you. It was an awesome discussion or interview, however you want to frame it. It was awesome. It was nice, and I liked the time. Absolutely.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, and I enjoyed it just as much. Where can the audience find you if they wish to reach out and find you?
Okay. If they want to find me, right now I have parted away with Fiverr because I'm in the midst of opening my own studio. So that's a little bit of a... Yeah, it's hard to do. It takes time. So right now, I'm sadly only available via Discord, where you can get me. If you want, you can later on just put it in your description or wherever you want, if you want to. To be honest, even if I look like it, I don't bite. You can just write me. I hope you got the right idea of me. I'm an open person. I'm not a frightening guy that, sometimes you don't want to talk to a person, but I'm open-minded. And yeah, I would love to build your own special place in this little world.
Well, again, thank you very much for your time. And I would tell Raptor to do the thing, but I'll do it instead. Find yourself a D&D nerd, start a conversation, ask him their favorite story, or if you want to be hostile, call him a murder hobo or a mid-maxer. Watch what happens. Enjoy your night, folks. See you in the metaverse.